hip and foot, and we're hoping that he comes back. He's 100%. He's feeling great right now. He finished the season with a broken foot, and that has since mended. He's doing all of his catching drills. He's in Cincinnati working with our catching coach, Mike Stefanski. Tucker Barnhart is now the number one catcher on our team. Devin will support that and catching probably a couple of times a week and be a nice bench bat for us. And help us with some late game pinch hitting, come up with some big hits for us late in the game, which would be really nice to have.
Next.
What's the timeline for Centel?
You know, thank goodness this isn't 2014. I wouldn't have known how to answer that, but I got a few seasons now of experience to know not to commit to anything. But we wouldn't have drafted Nick where we did and had him come through the system as quickly as he has if we didn't feel he could do it. The one thing we got to keep our eye on is making sure that our guys do everything they need to do in the system before they come up to the big league. So we want to be smart in that way, and in the same respect, we don't want to hold players back that are ready to play in the big league. So the most important thing is that Nick is playing every day. If he can do that in Cincinnati, terrific. If it's better served to be in Louisville to start the season, great. But I certainly anticipate that he'll have a big influence on this club for years to come. So we're very excited to see him.
Got another question for Brian, kind of a follow-up. Where exactly do you see him fitting in and getting the at-bats when he does make his debut this year? Yeah, Centel. That's left to be figured out because he's come up as a third baseman in our system and a really good one, not just a good offensive player, but a really good defensive player. In order to create a spot at third base, that would mean moving Suarez into the short or moving him into a different position. He's playing a great third base. And we've got to see Nick at the big league level. We're going to get a good chance to see him in spring training and see how he plays against similar competition. That's very important, And the other part is we also know he can play shortstop and second base. And if we need to, we can look at him in the outfield. But right now, what we want him to do is really force our hand with really playing really good baseball. And if there's a place that he can make us better, that's third base or someplace else, and that's something certainly we have to look at because we do want to have a great year this year.
Are the Reds gonna be good this year?
Well, there it is. That's the best question to be asked in a situation like this, where you get a chance to talk to people that have. I was talking to a gentleman earlier talking about making the long drive out to Cincinnati, and he wants to come and see the team win games, and that is what it's about. When you're asking your fan base to travel a long way to come and make their way out to Cincinnati to watch a ball game, you want to give them a good ball game. And I think last year we played hard. We played really good offensively, defensively. Our young pitching got better. We didn't win a lot of games. This year, I think we should all be held accountable to winning a lot more, much higher rate, and be a much more competitive ball club. That's on us to get that done and to get it done right, and I anticipate we'll be doing that here this next season.
So we've traded a lot of good players over the years, going back with Cueto, Leak, and now Phillips and Frazier, Bruce. If you can kind of maybe self-evaluate, what do you see right now? What was really good and worked, and what maybe didn't work so well?
Well, I think the thing is you'll see in baseball, especially with that small to mid-market ball club, is we have to be really smart in how we spend the money, and so we get into a situation where we have a lot of good players. So we had Chapman, we had Cueto, Leak, all the guys you mentioned, Chapman, Frazier, etc. The thing is they all got to that point in time where they're getting ready to make a ton of money, and they were going to be able to get in free agency a 4, 5, or 6 year contract for a ton of money. We're not in a position to do that. We have to be really smart with the way we spend. So we're going to be more inclined, and this is just my opinion, I don't represent the entire organization, but when you get to that point in time, when all your best players are getting to that point in time, is that we got to keep turning over the roster. You look at Oakland or Minnesota or a lot of teams that are in a similar situation, and that's what you have to do
until you get to a point where you can bust out and spend $150 million on your payroll and keep your best iconic players. We'd all love to be able to do that, but we're having a few more challenges here in Cincinnati than some of the other big market clubs. So we're doing the best we can to have players like this up here that can come in and be that next wave of great players.
Yes, Brian, I know that the defense is good, our offense is real good. I was wondering if there's going to be any, looking at free agents as far as pitching or any invitees to maybe spring training to see if we can bolster the pitching staff a little bit more. I was wondering if you comment on that.
Yeah, we went into the off season kind of targeting some things. Certainly, Zach Cozart was one of those players that was going into free agency for the first time, and we weren't going to be able to make him a competitive offer to stay. He ended up signing with Anaheim. Our situation here is that we had some funds, not a lot, to go out there and try to target a couple of spots, and one of the areas we really wanted to hit on was the bullpen. And we signed Jared Hughes, and we used up about half the money that we have, and we have probably enough to find, I call it like the low-lying fruit. And those are the players that are still not under contract late or right before spring training starts or early in spring training that are willing to maybe sign for a little bit less and maybe be able to find another player, a utility player, another reliever. But we like what we have for a group of starters. Bailey back, DeSclafani, Finnegan. We got Sal here, we got Cody, we've got Stevenson, Castillo, Malley, Jackson Stevenson. We got a lot of guys that we don't want to plug in necessarily an expensive veteran starter at the expense of allowing one of these young guys that are going to be here for some time to get that opportunity to pitch.
This is for Sal and Cody. I read a little bit about the pitching summit that you all recently went to. Can you talk a little bit about what that was for and kind of some of the things you picked up from that?
Oh, that was an opportunity for us to get down to Arizona a little bit early and get to see all the guys and check in with the strength coach and the trainers to make sure we're all up to task of our off-season goals and what we were looking for going to the season. We were also able to discuss things as a team, as a staff. Tucker Barnhart was, generous enough to come down and meet with all of us, and we had about, 3-4 hour meetings both days that we were there. And I feel like we definitely got a lot accomplished there, and I think we all have the same goals this year, and it was definitely a good head start going into spring.